Shalom, meditating on the book of Sirach because it's very a wise book, so it's about wisdom and just keeping the law. We need wisdom in order to keep and maintain on keeping the law, right? That's why we're going to meditate on this daily and every day because we need our daily meds, we need to cleanse our ways with what? With the word. So let's start with the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach. I like meditating on this and repeating on it because you know words starts to branch out on your mind, and not just words but also scriptures and precepts, right? So that's why we have to write it down because precept must be upon precept, right? And precepts regulates our reasoning and our thinking. That's how we get understanding. The word of God Most High is the foundation of wisdom, and her ways are everlasting commandments, right? That's why good precept here is how Christ said to us that he who hears these words and do it is like, I'm paraphrasing this. He is comparing it to a person who builds a house upon a rock, and when the rain and wind comes, his house still stands. You can find it in the book of Matthew 7 and 24. It's the book of Matthew chapter 7 and verse 24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and do it, right? Remember, the doers of the law are the ones who are blessed, not the hearers of the law, right? So continuing, I will liken him unto a wise man, right? Which built his house upon a rock, right? Because the Lord is our foundation, right? So our foundation is to keep the commandments, right? Because the commandments are life, good, and the life, right? In order for an appliance to activate it, it's what? Energy, electricity. That is their life. For humans, we need what? Life, right? And what is that life, right? It's the spirit, right? The Lord is a spirit. That's why we are moving, we are doing this, right? Because it is life, right? We have life in us, right? To be spiritual, we have to have wisdom, right? That's why our foundation must be built on wisdom, right? That's why prioritize the Most High first by keeping the commandments, because to keep the commandments is to because to keep the because to keep the commandments makes you wise, right? So continuing in the book of Matthew chapter 7 verse 25, and the rain descended and the floods came and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. The Most High is our rock. That's why we have to have our Most High God Yahweh to be our number one, right? We must prioritize first this walk, prioritize first mastering the commandments, right? Because Exodus chapter 20 verse, I think it's 2, we need to have no other guides besides him, right? And in order to love the Most High God is to what? Keep the commandments. You can find that in the book of 1 John and 5. It's the book of 1 John chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous, right? It's not even, you know, it's not hard, but yes, we will encounter a lot of temptations and challenges, but that is just to prove ourselves the Most High that we love him, right? Because genuine love is true love, right? That's why we have to go through the fire in order for us to become gold, right? Diamond has to be pressured, right? So we won't know if we're genuine unless we are tested, right? But in order to overcome those adversities is we have to what? Increase in strength, right? To increase in strength is to increase in what? Proverbs 24 and verse 5. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 5. A wise man is strong, yea, a man of knowledge increaseth knowledge. So to increase in knowledge is to increase in strength, right? Because when the Most High tests us, we must be what? Prepared, right? Because anytime he could test us and prove how much we love him, right? Because if we fall, what does that mean, right? Proverbs 24 and verse 10. If thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small, right? So you now have that knowledge, right? That when you fall into a trap, temptation, or adversity or suffering, right? It's because we lack knowledge, right? How do we gain knowledge, right? In order to gain knowledge, we must keep reading this book, right? Increase in wisdom, right? Prioritize first keeping the commandments and reading a lot of the wisdom books such as Sirach, Proverbs, Psalms, Wisdom of Solomon, all of those stuff. The New Testament has a lot of wisdom books, you know, Christ's teachings, you know, because if we fall into adversity, right, the Most High will get sad about that. You can find it in the book of Sirach chapter 2, verse 13. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore he shall not be defended, right? If we have faith in the Most High, right, he will protect us, right? That's why we have to keep on holding on and trusting in him that he will, heal us and fix us and build us up again, right? That's why faith worketh patience, right? The more you have patience, the more you can endure things, right? That's why increase in knowledge to increase in strength, to increase in strength is to have more faith. To have more faith is to have more increase in patience. To have patience is to endure all of those stuff. That's why he that endureth to the end shall be saved. Right? All praises to the Most High for this um, cleansing of my mind, for these words. Right? All praises to the Most High Yahweh, Mahashem, Yahweh Shai, the Word.